Hi guys, this is a video about kernels, about scripting, and the last previous video I've made is about getting Linux Cache OS. And looked around and I still have some scripts I have not shared with you before. So I'm sharing them now. So it's easy if you have a script like I've shown you in the video. Let's take a look at the number online. So the video I've made about get Linux Cache OS kernel is number 4396, 4396. And I've added some more things. When we update our systems, some of the things are going to etc skel, right? That's a very important folder. And obviously I will drag it here, so I'll get immediately a link to it. What we're gonna change is the binary, the bin. In the main, there's kernels, and we're gonna add linux-mainline to it, linux-nitrous, linux-xanmod kernel x64 version 3, and linux-xanmod-lts. All the rest are normal kernels, right? These guys and the hardened are just simple kernels. But these guys are coming from, yes, chaotic AOR. You can either build it yourself, which is time consuming, CPU consuming, right? Or just say sudo pacman -s, which is a little bit faster. So you have this in your etc skel. Let's open up our home directory. You don't have them here, right? There are a few there, but I've changed them. I've changed the content, I've changed the name, the title, right? Linux-xanmod kernel x64 version 3. So this one needs to go, that one needs to go, and these are just the defaults, nothing changed here. So I'm in my own home directory, and what we've changed is these four. These four need to go to mine. Basically, we're doing the skel, if you remember, skel. We copy paste from A to B. This is now done manually, just the things that changed, and remove the things that were old, right? So the video is about kernels, about the possibility to have other kernels, like, I don't know, there are tons of kernels out there on the AOR, but also on chaotic repo. So also in Cache OS repo. Why do I say that? Ctrl-Alt-E. It's all available with the ArcoLinux tweak tool. We have that as a super way to shop around, basically. It's a store that we can open up if we want to. And the only thing we need to do is click a button and say, let's shop around to Endeavor Repo, Reborn OS, Garuda, Chaotix, and boom, we have access to those sources. Now let's explore these sources, right? Because this thing is a script that's interesting for you to just change quickly and just download something else. And that's the thing. When you find something online, bash script, you analyze it, it's actually also not a bad idea today, Ctrl-A, Ctrl-C, and pop it somewhere on Gemini or ChatGPT or something AI related, and ask them, explain me each single line, right? But of course you can just read a little bit and say, okay, we're gonna copy paste the pacman, the configuration, make a script, so a backup, copy, backup, and in the end we're gonna put the backup back, right? So there's a reasoning in this, and of course we have our own repos, our own scripts that do things, right? That of course ChatGPT won't know. But you can learn a lot by just asking, all right, what does this do? What does that do? And you get the general drift of what's going on. So let's do this. Let's really install something. Well, first of all, I've installed a lot of things. So rip, what did I install? All these guys are new things that I've just done here at 8 o'clock in the morning. So it starts here. And if you see, like Mesa, I would do then a reboot. But if there's a kernel, systemd, important stuff, important packages, let's just reboot and see what we get, and then start from there. And yes, please test this on the machine, that's not important. And on a virtual machine, that's not important at all, right? But test it somewhere where it's safe, and you need to learn about kernels, right? There is a playlist on YouTube or kernels. There is on ArcoLinux.com something about kernels. I mean, get to know more, get more intel, right? Get more information. ArcoLinux Wiki has information, but we're here running scripts. So in our binary, in the main, we have kernels, and off we go, right? So the first one, these are the simple ones, which is really simple, like install kernel. These are the packages we want, needed, confirm, package reboot. Why? Because the kernels are available. Right? Pacman has access to the official kernels on ArcoLinux, but these ones are not available on Arch. So we need to do some extra stuff. Let's first do a neofetch. Let's clean up first, right? Let's see what kernels we have and already get rid of the ones we don't want. So neofetch is, we're running a Xen. What kernels do we have on this machine? 2 of them. So let's remove, let's say the Xen one, remove, and then what? All kernels but Linux. But Linux, that's it. Yes, please. So Xen is out. One less kernel in our boot. Right? Xen is out. Poof. That's it. And then off we go, running scripts. We could do a reboot and find us in the Linux kernel. But yeah, sure, right? Process, reboot. So if we go for an E, if you tap on E, the letter E in the keyboard, we see it's going to be VM Linux, basically the normal kernel that Arch uses. The Xen is gone, we boot up with another kernel, and that's the idea, right? To play around, switch around, throw away a kernel, use another kernel, and let's go and open up the binary main. Again, do this on things that do not matter. I'm just going alphabetically from top to bottom, so we have 4 things to do. And all we need to do is learn how to type get, tab, enter. That's it. It's going to get the Linux mainline x64 version 3 from Chaotic AOR. It's going to install it. Thanks to all the scripts that we have for the ecosystem of ArcoLinux, is going to do all that. I forgot to remove Broadcom and Realtek, which we don't need on the virtual machine. So it's going to be taking a little bit longer. And yes, there might be issues, right? Because, hey, path return status for module and so on. We're venturing in a, should I say, danger zone? But yeah, right? It is. Switching kernels can be devastating, as in it won't boot anymore. So you have to be prepared just for that case. But like I said here, in the end, everything gets reinstalled, like it gets changed, and we get our own Pacman back in there. So kernel, I've got these guys. And if you want to have a look, so the ls booting, right? We have already Linux mainline in the boot folder. Time to reboot. And then it depends. In VirtualBox, right? It's just VirtualBox. So yeah, probably gonna work. I say probably, right? Same things goes for hardware, real metal. It might work, it can work. It may be much better than the other kernel. It may be much worse than the other kernel, right? Let's really test it out. We have zero control over these things. This is release candidate 5, mainline, top patch, the latest code, right? Not officially released yet. It's release candidate. So many things can be wrong with it. but okay, we have it on our machine. So these are the two guys that we have. Now let me remove first Broadcom and Realtek here, because like I said, if you don't have the hardware, why would you need the drivers? And it saves us some time to build it. So that's one thing. If you're not happy with it, you remove it again. So let's remove first the kernel that we just installed. So we have this as list, mainline, mainline, that's one, and Linux mainline headers. Both of them are out again. Setting the Linux kernel again as a default. Quick and easy. Reboot. Let's see if I still have a working system. So we've got Linux kernel back in the saddle. Okay, check. And we have these binaries, right? Get what? These are the gets that we have. The linux-xanmod-lts as the official one, right? But the binary, unfortunately, it's inside a folder. So main kernels, we need to go in here, and maybe that's safest. Nitrous. Get linux-nitrous. What's that? Same thing, of course, but look at that. It needs clang and compiler RT and what else? DKMS LLD. And yes, it's coming from Chaotic AOR. So the things that I just said are called dependencies. Things it needs to be able to run on our machines. I just saw a word that maybe should need some explanation. Although it's easier to just to refer to ArchWiki, microcode, and just say to you guys, look, there is something called add microcode. It's gonna look, am I on Intel and AMD, and voila, it's installed, right? Simple. So this little word here has something to do how your machine boots, how stable it is, how fast it is, how efficient it is. ArchWiki, now let's go there. So Ctrl-Alt-F. ArchWiki microcode. Cancel, accept everything, and then you start reading, okay? So Nitrous, still busy. Reboot. Well, maybe the Linux kernel. Kernels, sorry. Voila. There's a folder built in there, which is very strange indeed. So yeah, sometimes these guys, well, they're built and created, and suddenly we see something strange. We should and shall clean that up. But okay, I have these kernels. Reboot. All right, linux-nitrous. I think that one was a fail on one of my computers, if I'm remembering correctly. And yeah, so that happens. Be sure to know how to get out of it again. So the kernels are this, and the neofetch, what are we using? We're using nitrous. Is this better? Play, see movies, do whatever you want, right? And feel or test, benchmark. Anyway, there are still other kernels to do. So sudo pacman -remove linux n and linux n again, and that's gone as well. What we did not do is rns remove now stupid. What am I saying? If we do remove now stupid, then the dependencies are gone as well. There were only 3 or 4 packages, so it doesn't really matter, but okay. They're still there, right? Next thing is bin main kernels xanmod kernel, and get that one. We did not reboot, so let's see if we can skip the rebooting bit. So this is where everything is always changing. And here is something, a message, right? It's a warning. So a general message for anything Arch based, a warning doesn't mean that's a problem. A warning is just a warning. An error is a problem, right? So kernels. Now we have these guys, the build folder is gone, that's cool. And we reboot. E xanmod, check, enter, we see it at the top. Is xanmod better than the other kernels? I don't know, I really don't, so test it out. So often it's a gut feeling, the responsiveness of a machine, that you say, oh yeah, I feel that it's faster, and you keep it, simple as that, you keep it. So we're back on this one. We're still one to go, so Linux xanmod is gonna go for me again, and the headers as well. And we have one more to do in the binary folder, in the main, in the kernels. We have the LTS. It's ready. Not booting up, rebooting again, just going for it. There it is. Celtic AOR has these two, and if the name changes, we need to change the script. Simple as that. They've already done that in the past. They is not Celtic AOR. The AOR maintainers. All right, what do we have now? We have now this kernel, we reboot. E if you want to see immediately, yes, we're on LTS. And I would try to keep 2 kernels around, not all 8 or 7 or whatever, right? Just keep playing with 2 kernels and decide. You have also backup with 2, right? Otherwise it's a TTY. If you actually remove everything, yeah, that can also remove the Linux and the Linux headers. So that means I'm just gonna go for 1 kernel. I'm gonna say xanmod-lts is my thing, right? And that means I don't have a backup, which maybe you're fine with, but just know it's that one or nothing, right? There is no advanced extra, there's just the LTS, and that's fine. Maybe certainly it's fine with the official Linux kernels, but right, this is not an official Linux kernel. This is coming from EA. Let's first do an update, see that Celtic AOR is not there. I always get rid of Chaotic AOR because of Linux versions. The number versions are different than the one on the AOR, and it's always at the bottom. So ArcoLinux repo, if it's not on ArcoLinux repo, it's gonna go to this one, it's gonna go to that one, that one, that one, that one, and then Chaotic AOR. That's the last line, always on pacman.conf. What I was going to say is there's lots more, right? Linux kernel or something else. Let's see. All the core and extra, I'm not interested. I'm just interested in the ones that are on the AOR. So what do we have here? CK. You look up, what does that mean? What does that do? Is it even interesting for you? PF, LQX, clear, F, VFIO, CK headers, Licorix, I think it's called, I don't know. Right, LQX thing here. We have the mainline we have, cache OS we have, right? It's a lot of choices. Libre here, a stable mainline Linux kernel modules. I mean, just go ahead and read. Maybe you're interested in the Linux AMD, if you're an AMD CPU with some improvement patches, whatever they are, right? I'm not the guy to tell you. But I am the guy to tell you, look, there are scripts you can change and adapt and change the code into Linux AMD, right? Simple as that. Just go change it into something different. Like here, go in here, main, kernels, I don't know, take one of them, Control-C, Control-V, and the other one was called AMD. New folder. I'm not going to share a folder with you, just an example. And this one you call not nitrous, but you're going to call it Linux AMD. And then to be really sure that everything is okay, but I'm guessing it's going to be called Linux AMD and Linux AMD headers. But guessing is never a good thing and never a good approach. So let's be sure. How do I do that? Toggle what? I'm gonna toggle Chaotic repo. Okay, done. So what? Then you update. And like I said, let's see if it happens. No, it doesn't happen. Good. So if there is something you should update from Chaotic AOR, don't, right? Because of the different versions. But what I can do now is sudo pacman -s Linux AMD. Pressing tab and see if it works. So AMD is not the word, is it? It's not available. So too bad, right? Linux AMD is not available on Chaotic AOR. So you can't do sudo pacman -s. You need to build it. You need to go to yay and paru. I get it. I could do AGM as an example, for instance, or Licorix here. And let's see, the other one is there. Let's see. Ah, yeah, there he is. So Licorix and Licorix headers would be an example that actually works, right? This does not exist on Chaotic AOR, but this one does exist. And you can go on and test other things, and RT is here and so many things. Now RT is just available with sudo pacman, so there's no need. Let's show you that first. Don't forget to toggle off the Chaotic AOR, like so. Test it, should be gone, no line anymore. Sudo pacman -s Linux, and then this. Then you see that RT is already there. RT-LTS. So there are more kernels to test, and this is from us, right? On our repo, we have that for the Arco Plasma ISO. So there we go. That's it for me. So no, it's not AMD anymore. You should edit these things. It's actually called LQX, which means I have to edit these things. LQX, enter, and the folder as well. LQX. Shall we try it? 24 minutes in the video. So if we want to test this out, then you say get LQX. Off it goes. LQX is coming in. Again, the stuff happens in boot. Xanmod-lts is still there. Let's remove that guy. Well, let's keep it. Let's show you what happens. So if we have 3 of them, sometimes these kernels are not in the right order. There is the grub manager that I used to use in the past, but these days I don't. I mean, I use one kernel, that's it, and that's the official Linux kernel. So if we reboot, let's see what we have. We have the linux-xanmod, a good example, right? So the official one is here. Well, the one I used to have before, right? And this is the new guy. I need to boot it up like that to test it, which means I'm gonna remove the LTS. So Licorice is gonna be the one as default. That's why often I keep just 2 kernels around, so that I don't need to navigate through that. First you want to know, right, is this working? So neofetch, sure, we have Licorice there, and we can see, and if it works fine, then use it. What do we have to remove? We can remove the Xanmod kernel. Like so. And we rely, well, we hope to rely on the Licorice. We reboot. Let's see if it's default. Like so, it is. And here ends the video, right? It's just scripting, testing, hoping for the best, and realizing that's not a kernel, or just the opposite. This is a better kernel for my machine. And real metal is, of course, another challenge. So that's up to you. Decide, or just keep using the official kernels, right? But this is now the only kernel I have on my machine. And off we go. I'll put this video I was thinking. It deserves also an article. And if I would think, where in the ecosystem of ArcoLinux will I put it? Right? The information website is all about what's new and what's updated and where to download. ArcoLinux is just general. D stands for the desktops. B is building ISOs. This is Carly, building from scratch. And Calamares, ALCI, Arch Linux Calamares installer, just pure Arch and Calamares. Ariser is with scripts, no Calamares. So all these projects, right, are all part of the ecosystem. But it makes sense to put it in arcolinux.com, because here we just talk about topics in general. Topics, general topics, and this is the place where it needs to go. How to install Linux Clear kernel or build it. How to install Xanmod kernel. Freeze your current kernel because of problems, right? You want to keep this version because this version works and the next version doesn't work. That happens because it's like 50,000 lines to create a kernel, and if they change some line that affects your webcam, your internet connection, yeah, right, you want to go and downgrade and go back to a previous kernel. So downgrading is explained here as well. And yes, it has a nice place in this range of articles. All right, cheers.